Okay guys, so like it says in the thumbnail, today I'm going to try to talk about my motor, the LS1. I know a lot of you guys have been asking me a lot of questions on Instagram on how much power it makes, you know, what I've done, you know, what kind of mods can I do. I'm going to try to do as best I can to answer those questions, so let's get into it. So before we dive into the specs about my motor and how much power and everything it makes, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of background about the car, how it became into my possession, and stuff like that. So about a year and a half ago, I want to say around September 2017 is when I purchased the car, and this one popped up, and it was like, I was like, one of those like fake ads, I thought at first, because it was a one-owner car. It had 50,000 miles on it, and it was like a 2004. A lot of you guys are like, why didn't you get the LS2, or it makes more power. Well, I mean, I just got scored such a good deal on this car, it was just like too good to pass up. Now yes, I would have liked the LS2 just because it's a bigger motor. They improved the, I think it looks a little bit better, the 05s and 06s. But, I'm so happy with it. I ended up buying the car, and I took it back, and at first I was like, I'm not going to touch it, because I did sell my other car to get this car. I was like, I have to daily drive this thing, I don't want to touch it, I want to leave it stock and everything like that, and, I just wasn't going to deal with, like, modding it or anything at the time. So I started working on it. I did want to, like, get it to run really well, and I just, like, when I purchase a new car, I always like to do a quick tune-up and stuff like that. And when I did my tune-up and everything, I noticed that, like, the exhaust on this thing was, like, literally trash. So I took it to a tuner, the guy that still tunes my car, Nick. We looked at the car, and we dynoed the car, got a couple baseline numbers, and it only dynoed at 290. Now, or I think it was actually 285. And now so I know a lot of you guys are like, well, like, it's an LS1, but these things are supposed to do about 300 to 310, or 300 to 310 if you're, like, have a really good motor. Now every car is different, I know that, but I mean 290 or 285 was a little bit low, I felt like, and even Nick agreed with me. So we looked at the car, and he was like, your exhaust, that's the problem, right? That I ended up, ordering a whole exhaust kit for it, just to get it to sound good and to get it to run, get it to run healthier. I went with JBA performance headers. I think they're a really good bang for the buck from all the reviews, and I've loved them so far. I went back to Nick, and we re-dynoed the car, and with just the long tubes and a 3-inch exhaust back, I picked up over 40 horsepower. I went from 285 to 290 to 335. Car shaking, and like the lump of the cam in your car is just like the best feeling. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna cam the car, but I want to do a cam that wasn't like super shaky. I want to do a cam that wasn't super shaky, or like could still be daily driven. And so I contacted Texas Speed, and they went through it with me, and helped me out and got me a cam that was like still streetable, but also gave me a really good amount of power out of it. And we ended up going with 228 cam. It is a solid cam for the power rate, for power and also drivability. I think it's the best cam for that scenario. If you wanted to go, yes, I could have gone bigger and went with like a Magic Stick, like 4 cam, which is like a very big like lift and duration cam, which you get a little bit more like the lump in the cam, but it's not really like streetable, like kind of driving thing. It's more meant for like race cars. Now I know this is a race car now, but at the time it was something that I still daily drove. So I got it dynoed, and with the new cam and everything all set up, I dynoed at, I think when we went back to Nick, we dynoed at around 405. And so that picked up another 60 horsepower. I mean, with the cam, I did add like valve springs, the Trunion upgrade for the rockers. I did push rods. I I did a lower, the underdrive pulley. We did basically all the supporting mods for cam. I ended up doing. We went with bigger injectors at the time. I think we bumped it up to like 42-pound injectors, and that's about it. So that put me at around 405. So for any LS1 guys who want to do a good cam setup, cam only setup, that's what I would recommend. With those things alone, you should be right around the 400-ish mark, and that's that's a really solid amount for any kind of car. And it has progressed heavily. So I ended up going and doing nitrous, and I did 100 shot, and I think that I kind of went out of hand on that, and the car dynoed at like I think it was like 540 or something like that. I picked up like 100 plus horsepower with the nitrous. So fast forward a couple more months, and like around summerish, I was like, all right, I'm gonna like completely redo this whole car, and I'm gonna take the motor out and get it refreshed and everything. And that's what I ended up doing. Okay, so I have a list of everything I've done to the motor, and also the power ranges that I think that it's gonna make. I still have not dynoed the car, but for this setup, I think it's pretty safe to say that that's gonna be the power number. So I'll read off everything that I've done, and if you guys want to do it, I'll maybe do like a pricing video on what it costs to rebuild an LS1 and to make it kind of like this kind of power range. Just let me know, just put it in the comments if you guys want to see that, and I'll make that video. So starting off, I kept the 228R cam. I think it's a great cam, and I just didn't want to spend a little bit extra money to get a new cam, and it was kind of pointless. It's a great cam as it is. And then that's from Texas Speed, by the way. I ended up going with Texas Speed 243 heads. They are great heads, and I got the 2.5 version that's on their website. They're ported and milled 0.030, so it basically puts the combustion chamber at 59 cc's, which basically raises the compression level just a little bit. You get maybe a couple extra horsepower. It's just it's what Texas Speed recommended for it. And the bottom end, for the bottom end, I ended up going with Wiseco pistons and rings for they're forged, and Manley rods. I kept the stock crank and everything. It was kind of just a refresh. I got worried when I pulled the motor that since I ran nitrous, that I had ruined the bottom end of the car. So just to be a better safe than sorry, I just took it to got it refreshed, and had some new pistons and rings put in and stuff like that. Nothing too fancy. Just it's still, I would say, still a stock bottom end. For the top end of the car, I still have currently the LS6 intake on it with the stock throttle body. I have purchased already the LSX 102 intake and the Nick Williams 102 throttle body. I just have not put it on. I plan on making a video about me doing, swapping that out and, showing you guys how to do it. So with the power levels, that's going to be with that included, not with the stock LS6 intake that you guys have seen, that I painted like with the American flag and everything. So I ended up going with Holley fuel rails and FIC Fuel Injector Clinic 90-pound injectors. I am running E85, so a lot of you guys don't know that 04s have the capability of running E85. They just don't have the capability of running flex fuel. You can run E85, just has to be constant. And it kind of sucks, but it's a race car, so I'm not driving 300 miles in this thing. It's something that I felt like with running these kind of power numbers in the LS1, I just wanted a little bit better gas. I thought E85, you reduce the knock a little bit with E85 and you get a little bit more power out of it, so I just figured I'd just do it and just switch over. I have right now the K&N intake on it. It gets really heat soaked, and I've gotten a lot of backlash on the exhaust header wrap that I wrapped around it. At the time when I had it, when we had it dynoed for the cam only, we were getting like 150, 160, intake temps, and it was just like way too hot, and it was because like that whole area right there was getting super heat soaked. So I was like, I have some extra header wrap, so I'll just like throw it on and see what it does. And it reduced the intake temp like, what was it, I think 30 degrees or something like that. So it worked. So I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna leave it on. But you know, a lot of people have been making fun of me like, oh, why do you have like exhaust header wrap on your car or on your intake? And I just did it because it worked, and it was a simple fix at the time. I did plan on going to a over the radiator, which everyone does, and that was the best. You don't really get a heat soak. I do have the over the radiator cold air intake. I think I went with the Voliant one or something like that. I forget the brand, but I plan on installing that when I end up doing my Fast 102 and the Nick Williams 102 throttle body. Other stuff that I have in the bay is Mishimoto radiator. I have the thermostat, the 185 thermostat from Mishimoto also, and also I have a Mishimoto oil catch can. So all said and done, you know, that's everything that I've done to my motor. And you guys are gonna be like, well, what kind of power? Everybody's been asking what kind of power it's gonna make. You know, my engine setup, I and my tuner believe that it should make around 440 to 460 horsepower. And now for an LS1, that is really good. You know, I could do a 383 stroker and bump it up to, you know, past 6.0, like 6 liters, or I think it ends up coming out to like 6.3 liters for a 383. And I could do that, but it's like, you know, at the end of the day, why do that when then at that point I might as well just get another, you know, engine and just bump it up to like an LS3 or something like that. For LS1 making 450 horsepower to the wheels, I think that's insanely good and insanely reliable. Now for my type of racing, that's going to be like perfect. I'm doing, you know, autocross like track days, and I'm going to be traveling to like Colorado and stuff like that. So I didn't really want to go supercharger just because, you know, with the altitude and stuff like that, I think it's going to really affect it, and I'm going to go down in power. I think an NA setup is the best way to go for any kind of like, you know, autocross like setup like that. You know, you instant power, and the torque levels are, you know, the torque curve for the car is like way better than any, you know, supercharger or anything like that. And it's just a lot more reliable. I think that with this setup, I mean, I am going to be running it and pushing it. So yeah, my car makes around 440 to 450 rear roll horsepower. I did make more when I was on nitrous, but that's nitrous, and I think with this setup, you know, I think it's great, and I just, you know, I'm super happy with it. You know, everyone I take on a ride with, everyone that takes a ride in this car, is like blown away on how fast it is. Granted, I do have a lot of weight reduction in this thing. I've probably like lost around 300 pounds in this thing, so you know, it's that probably has effect to it, but you know, I'm super happy. And for anyone who has an LS1 that wants to have a similar setup, you know, just be aware that, you know, this isn't really a, you know, a daily driven like car. It's strictly a race car. You know, I might drive it to like church or something like that on the weekend, but you know, other than that, I'm not driving it every day. So I just wanted to let you guys know and be aware, if you guys do this, that you probably should get another car or some sort of like daily driver. You can daily drive it, it's just it becomes a pain. But yeah, so if you guys do want to see that video of me like pricing it out, just let me know, and I'll, you know, tally up what everything has cost me. I planned on kind of doing a video of like what it's cost to kind of transform this whole car. Maybe I can just do that and just throw the motor in at the same one. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure you guys like and subscribe. I really do appreciate, you know, if you guys give me some feedback. You know, I think a lot of you guys had already said about this from the last video that I did, that my editing got a lot better. So, you know, I'm super thankful about that, and super thankful that you guys have given me the feedback on that. And I'm going to continue to improve, and hopefully this channel can grow, and you know, we can see what we can do with this thing. But yeah, I hope you guys had a great New Year's, and take care.